Everyone talks about the AI race. Everyone talks about who controls the most advanced chips on Earth. But there's another race happening right now, quietly, with almost no headlines, no viral tweets, no congressional hearings. It's not about intelligence. It's not about silicon. It's about something so ordinary, you probably have 5 of them in your house right now. Batteries. And in this race, one country isn't just competing, it's already lapped the field. To understand why, you have to understand something most people get wrong. Batteries aren't just a gadget component anymore. They're strategic infrastructure. Think about what runs on batteries today. Electric vehicles, obviously, but also the power grid itself, storing solar and wind energy for the moments when the sun isn't shining and the wind isn't blowing. Military drones, submarines, backup power for hospitals, data centers, entire cities. Whoever controls battery technology controls a piece of the future economy the same way oil controlled the 20th century. And for the last decade, there's been one battery chemistry sitting at the center of it all: lithium. Lithium is why Tesla could build a car that outperforms gasoline engines. It's why your phone lasts all day. It's light, it's energy dense, and it kicked off one of the fastest technology booms in modern history. But here's the problem nobody saw coming fast enough. Demand for lithium didn't just grow, it exploded. Electric vehicle sales multiplied year after year, and suddenly the entire world needed staggering amounts of a material that isn't evenly distributed across the planet. Lithium has to be mined, it has to be refined, it has to be processed into battery-grade material before it ever touches a car. And that entire chain, mining, refining, manufacturing, has a center of gravity. That center of gravity is China. While Western companies were racing to build flashier cars, China was building something less exciting but far more powerful: the entire supply chain underneath the car. It didn't just mine materials, it refined them. It didn't just refine them, it built the factories that turn raw material into finished battery cells at a scale nobody else came close to matching. 2 companies became the face of this dominance: CATL and BYD. CATL alone supplies batteries to automakers all over the world, including many Western brands you'd never associate with a Chinese company. BYD went even further, building both the batteries and the cars, becoming one of the largest electric vehicle makers on Earth. This is the part people miss. Manufacturing scale isn't just about making things cheaper. At a certain size, it becomes almost impossible for anyone else to catch up. Every factory that opens brings down costs for the next one. Every improvement gets rolled into the next generation of cells. The gap doesn't stay the same size, it compounds. So by the time most of the world woke up to how important batteries had become, China wasn't just ahead, it had built a moat. And then, just when everyone assumed they finally understood the battery landscape, China made a move almost nobody outside the industry was watching for. While the rest of the world stayed locked on lithium, Chinese battery makers started pouring billions into a completely different chemistry: sodium-ion batteries. Yes, sodium, the same element in table salt. For years, sodium-ion technology was treated as a lab curiosity, interesting on paper but nowhere near practical, too heavy, too limited, not worth the investment. China decided to invest anyway, and in 2026, that bet is starting to pay off, with companies like CATL moving sodium-ion batteries out of the lab and into real vehicles and real power grids. So how does a battery made from something as common as salt actually work? Every battery works the same basic way. Ions move back and forth between 2 ends, storing and releasing energy as they go. Lithium batteries use lithium ions to do this job. Sodium batteries simply swap in sodium ions instead. Here's why that swap matters so much. Lithium is relatively rare and concentrated in a handful of countries. Sodium is almost everywhere. It's in seawater, in salt deposits, in the ground beneath nearly every country on the planet. That means sodium batteries can be made without relying on the same tightly controlled mining chain that lithium demands. That alone makes them dramatically cheaper to produce. Sodium batteries also tend to perform better in extreme cold, an area where lithium batteries often struggle. And they're generally considered safer, more resistant to overheating and fire risk, which matters enormously for energy storage systems sitting inside cities and neighborhoods. Cheaper, more abundant, safer, better in the cold. Sounds like sodium should just replace lithium completely, right? Not quite. And this is where honesty matters more than hype. Sodium-ion batteries store less energy for their size and weight than lithium-ion batteries do. That means shorter driving range in a car, or more physical space needed to store the same amount of energy. For a short-range city car, a delivery vehicle, a home battery, or a massive grid storage system where weight matters less than cost, that trade-off can be exactly what the market needs. This isn't a story about one battery beating another. It's a story about two chemistries splitting the future between them, each one built for a different job. And that's exactly why this matters so much geopolitically. If sodium batteries make affordable EVs and energy storage possible for countries that could never justify the cost of lithium, an entire new tier of the global market opens up. Developing economies, rural electrification, backup power for regions with unreliable grids. Right now, that supplier is overwhelmingly positioned to be China. Not because China has locked up every mineral on Earth, not because lithium is dead, but because China moved first, manufactured at a scale nobody else matched, and then quietly built a second chemistry ready to dominate the parts of the market lithium can't reach. Other countries are racing to catch up. New sodium-ion projects are emerging in Europe, in the United States, in India. The race isn't over, but right now the lead is real, and it didn't happen by accident. We spend so much time watching the race for smarter software and faster chips that we almost miss the one happening in something as unglamorous as a battery. Maybe that's the real lesson here. The next great technological race might not be won by whoever writes the smartest code. It might be won by whoever builds the quietest, heaviest, most overlooked piece of infrastructure underneath everything else: the battery.